Hello, I'm Amy Gutierrez, and this is Shoulder to Shoulder, where we get a chance to meet some of the most influential, important, and interesting people in the world of wine, our very own Sonoma County wine growers and winemakers. Today we're in Dry Creek Valley, and we get a chance to meet April and Andrew Nalle of Nalle Winery. Now, 2024 marks the 40th anniversary of this storied winery, where the Nalles serve as stewards to 100-year-old vines. Welcome everybody. We are at the scenic Nalle Winery in Dry Creek Valley, and I am lucky enough to be spending time with the people who bring this to you. We've got Andrew and April Nalle. So the Nalle family history, what's the story there?
So we're standing on the land that was originally in my mom's side of the family, that was from the late 1800s to the early 1900s, and my dad came up from Southern California in the 70s, and he met my mom, started working in some larger wineries, went to UC Davis and got his master's in winemaking. Then my mom and dad started the Nalle Winery label in 1984, and then moved back down here onto this property where we have the above ground cave in 1990. But I remember starting at the winery in 1984, 85. I was helping at the harvest, starting to get the stems and working at the destemmer at the time. And then I remember growing up in this winery and playing a lot of baseball and basketball in here.
I think we are standing on what used to be a batting cage,
so we have a
right?
batting cage right here.
What has it been like for you, April, to be here around Andrew's extended family, to have grandparents walking distance for your kids to just run up and go see them? And
really rewarding, and especially to have my kids grow up here. Growing up, we kind of moved all around, but now I'm really experiencing what it feels like to have a community that's, you know, the family's been rooted in the community for generations. And I think that's what's special about Nalle, is that we're the ones in the vineyards and we're actually the ones in the cellar, cleaning the barrels, tasting the wine, doing all the cellar work.
Hands-on, all the,
It's not always, you know, easy or fun, but there's something really rewarding about doing it yourself. It's one of those things where you almost feel like we're doing it for the next generation. And if we wanted to keep going or not keep going, it's almost not up to us.
Right.
We're ready for our kids to decide if they'd like to do something. I mean, they're pretty young, but it'd be cool if they have the same kind of passion for the different kind of skill set that you need.
Your vineyard is part of the Historic Vineyard Society. These are 100-year-old vines that you guys are working with. What kind of respect, I guess, comes with that, but also what kind of responsibility do you have in keeping this true?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, keeping it true to our family and true to the land that we're on, and respecting the 100 years that these vines have been growing. And actually, as they get older and older, we really are doing this balancing act of trying not to stress the vines and yet still wanting to get production. You could be sitting here, it could be the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and we are truly drinking this sense of place, because these are the same vines. Our style is really nostalgic of the old school Dry Creek, and you could just kind of close your eyes and be having a glass of Nalle, and you could be almost in any era.
Yeah.
And it's
so
really
cool.
kind of special to think about.
For you guys, like farming, there's so much tradition in farming and consistency, and yet you have to evolve with the times as well. And so I'm looking over Andrew's head and I can see they have a living roof. This is very innovative, a new technology to bring into farming. So where do you guys stand on that, like tradition versus innovation and evolving with the times? And then let's get into the roof, because it's one of the coolest things.
Yeah, that's funny, because I always say his dad was kind of ahead of his time, or a forward thinker, and he kind of came up with this idea to make an above ground cave-like environment, and the living roof really does that. And I think I was telling you our tagline is naturally cool since 1984, because it could be 100 degrees out here and you walk into the cellar and it's 59 degrees naturally, you know, so our electricity bill inside for the whole winery is less than my house. now it's very little maintenance, and the rosemary smells good. The barrels love to age in that kind of environment.
You were telling a story, I hope you'll expand on it about, because I asked him earlier how you cared for the roof, because it's steep and you got to go up. So will you share? You bring your bring your baseball.
So again, we were back in sports where we were just always active, and so part of how I grew up, instead of mowing the lawn, I was up on the roof weeding around the rosemary to make sure that
in your cleats, right?
Start. In my cleats, so that I wouldn't fall off the roof. So
and people think baseball and wine don't. Their worlds don't
there's so
collide.
many parallels.
There are so many parallels. So this show is called Shoulder to Shoulder, which makes a lot of sense to both of you. It's what we see in farming so much, you know, walking shoulder to shoulder with your mentor, with your children. Where does that play a role in how you educate those who are working on your vineyards because of the history of this location and what you're dealing with?
I think the best way of learning is to just follow around basically a mentor or have the hands-on training, and also be able to make mistakes and see also how each vintage, each time you do it, you can do it slightly different, and the end product can be consistent, but you have to kind of adjust to the moment. And it really does teach you to be in the moment and to respect the wisdom of the elder that's come before you.
Being a farmer in Sonoma County, what kind of pride do you take in that?
This is my whole life. It's everything I do. When you're walking around, you're a farmer, and you integrate it as you're walking down the street, or you go into town, or it's how you talk to people, or it's more about the relationships and with the land too. So it's like, even if you're off the clock, which you never really are, but if you're walking the dogs, you're just looking at ways that you can keep the land as healthy as possible. We really need farming. We need the land. We need this great soil. We need Sonoma County. We need more of this nice green space for everybody to just get out and spread their wings and enjoy their life. I think it's just, I feel so invigorated when I'm outside and just working.
All right. Andrew and April, Nalle, thank you for your time and for having us to your beautiful location. Cheers.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
cheers.
Fun.
Cheers. Cheers.
Thank you so much for watching Shoulder to Shoulder. We hope you'll follow along as we unveil the stories of our beautiful Sonoma County wine country and the farmers and vintners who care for it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel @Sonoma Wine Growers, or visit our website at sonomawinegrape.org.